we we now wanting to, we're doing an architecture discussion today for the second time in the last 3 years. And before we start on the discussions, we would like to know a quick, fun fact about you, because we want to start on a discussion knowing about each other as to who we're talking to. We know you're heads of architecture institutions, and it'll be interesting to share probably a hobby, something that you love doing post your stint as administrators. I personally love to crochet and paint when I have some free time. A quick thing about you and the college you represent. Could I start with Jaideep ji?
Hi, Seema. Good to be here. Good to be a part of this August panel, which has many more women than men, which is a great thing. It is very heartening to see so many heads of architectural colleges as women. I am honored to be amongst you. A little bit of fun fact about me is that I actually am also a semi-certified dog trainer, and I train, apart from my own German Shepherd Norbu and my other two Indies, Jamtara and Chandni. I train about 10 to 12 street dogs and try to make the streets, human and dog interface possible across any locality I stay. So I like to do that for my little bit of things. Yeah.
Of all the fun facts that I've heard, Jaideep, I
Yeah, I
have
would just like to step in here, Jaideep. If you are a trainer, I need to get in a discussion with you because I have a German Shepherd. She's like 4 or 5 months old now.
All right.
She's the apple of my eye, but also naughty as hell.
Okay, then we need to have a
And it's
conversation.
very
This is a good
difficult for
time
me.
for you to, yeah, this is a good time for you to step in, actually.
Yeah, absolutely going to get on a call for this.
Sure, sure.
Right, great. Could I get Ms. Mahalakshmi to share a bit about herself?
Hello, good evening all. I'm Mahalakshmi from School of Architecture CIT in Coimbatore, heading School of Architecture. Yeah, I have been working in Abu Dhabi and for the past 7 years, I'm here in India and heading the institutions. Okay, and my special, the uniqueness like which I like is like I love gardening actually, and I love gardening. Even a small space, I wanted to do plants and mostly medicinal plants. And I have like most rare plants in my garden and then rooftop. I have more, and I try to follow the sustainability in even in small things like which I do in everyday activity. For example, cleaning things, using the water, like everywhere I try to follow like zero waste things. Like I try to follow that maximum. I try to follow that.
Yes, I wish the whole country will start doing that. It'll be such a better place to live in, probably. Thank you so much for sharing that. Madhumati ma'am, could I get you to share a bit about yourself?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Madhumati. I'm heading the School of Architecture, VIT. We have a special program called Digital Technology for Buildings. And this discussion, I felt it's very useful, particularly for us. And regarding my personal activities, I have two daughters, and you'll know how they keep me engaged. So, administration and family, apart from it, I don't have any time to spend for personal fun. Earlier, after finishing college, we were, as usual, as architects, I used to paint and do everything, but now no time for any of the passion.
No, totally agreeable. I think sometimes work and family consumes us so much, but that itself is quite handful, as both as administrators and mothers.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing that. Kavita ji, could I get you a bit about yourself, please? I think her screen is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Muralidhar sir, could I get you to share a bit about yourself?
Good evening, everyone. I'm a practicing industrial designer. So, I have a woodworking setup. And fun fact, I like to make knives and anything to do with tools. I enjoy collecting them and working with them. So, I might be an odd man out here heading a school of architecture, but I'm a practicing industrial designer. So, and I also head the Association of Designers of India, Bangalore chapter. So we are doing a lot of work there. So one of the verticals of the World Design Protopolis, which the ADI is spearheading, is the Safe City, where, like Jaideep was mentioning, it is about safe for non-humans also as a thing. So Bangalore is the first city that has been awarded this title by the World Design Organization, and ADI is spearheading this initiative. So many fun facts that way, because I don't stick on to one thing, so keep jumping around.
Yeah, it keeps you wanting to explore something new, right? That's something that
They
also,
feed off each other.
yeah. Right. Uh, all right. Jyoti ma'am, could I get you to share a bit about yourself?
Good evening, all. It is a nice platform to share the thoughts and things like that. I'm heading Savita College of Architecture and Design under CIMATS, and that is again new baby. It is the first batch has just come out. Before that, also I was teaching, so it is almost like 30 plus years of teaching experience because I'm a pure academician. In between, I practice very less only because once you are into full academics, then actually that goes on. It is a full-time 24 by 7 job, as Madhu said. It is families comes actually secondary. We have almost like 200 children to take care. So that is the first family.
Yeah.
Then our own family and our own daughter will come into the picture over there, actually speaking. Currently, with all this WhatsApp and Zoom and all the parents have all the contacts, so it is like 24 by 7. We are occupied academicians. It's not like earlier. I feel that teaching was like a very passionate job, but currently teaching is the toughest part. I feel that with the technologies and with the kinds of information available with the kids over there, they are not having that kind of what you call respect or this one towards the teachers. But otherwise, personally, I love music a lot. I listen to music a lot. Actually, that is the only kind of soothing this I will have. And I do cooking, a lot of cooking I does, and I watch cooking videos a lot. These are the
Right.
two areas which I really love, where I try to get a break. Otherwise, I love shopping. That is the area whether I'll just, if I have so much of stress and tension, actually I just get out individually and go to a mall or maybe at a shopping street, and then I'll vent out my stress over there.
So
Then I'm so
retail
relaxed.
therapy for you. Retail
Thank
therapy for
you.
you.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Mamta, lastly, could I get you to share a bit about your?
Yeah. May I?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. This is Mamta. Very happy to see you all in this platform. I'm an architect and I finished from Hubli College of Engineering, Hubli, BB College. I guess you might be heard about this in Karnataka. And I did my lot of work at Pune around 18 years of time. Then I moved on to the Bangalore. Then later part of my life entered into the academics. And after that, I did my master's and joined as, and now I become a right from the assistant professor and I reached to the head of the department. So here, lot of changes I could be able to see in the academics as well. And because of this, now I earlier I used to be very happy, in fact. But now I took a charge since 3 years. Really, it is a very tremendous, hectic work. Not only the teaching and all the transformation is happening, how we have to find out the gap analysis in the industry and the academia, because now we entered into the this NIRF ranking and NBA ranking and all. And because of this accreditation process, really it will be very much hectic. And I would like to know, because even in this academic section, I never thought that the how the COA we can be able to match with increase of the admission process, and how we can be able to talk on this platform, and how we can be able to move to for the students to go for the internships in the abroad or something kind of that, where we have got the very good platform for the students to participate here in the competitions and all. Something like this we can be able to talk here. In the personal view, if you look into I practiced 18 years of time. I did lot of projects in Pune for the residential and the commercial and little two only projects for the industrial projects also. But coming exactly to the academics, I can understand the students' vision also during that because where all I have faced the problem, I could be able to give the examples of my practical examination to the students related to the academia. So that really I'm enjoying with the kids because once I see the students, now the students are really wonderful to enjoy my eyes. All the students are coming to the college like well dressed and teenagers, looks very nice, and very all these platforms like the Google things and the searching, researching. See, really I'm enjoying this to see the students participating in all the activities. Really wonderful. My eyes are really enjoying being an academician. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Kavita, ma'am, could I get you to share a bit about yourself?
Yes, so good evening, everyone. And I would first like to thank you for, bringing all of us together on this platform. It's indeed a very, very unique moment to be connected to so many heads of institutions across the country and to some of my good friends. So, hello, Mamta ma'am, Madhumati
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
It's really nice to
Nice to see you on this
get
platform.
connected to you once again. Yes, yes, though virtually. But
Yes.
yes, so thank you ELH Media for making this possible, and of course Shreya for all the coordination all this while. So I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Kavita Murukkal. I am based in Pune. I am heading the Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Architecture at Pune. It's a deemed university, and we have a BArch program, we have a master's in sustainable architecture, and we have a PhD program, apart from a recently started diploma in architecture. Talking about myself, I have been into academics and practice for nearly 20 plus years now. My master's has been in a very offbeat subject, that's archaeology, because heritage has always been at the center of my heart, and probably that comes out of my love for traveling. So I have very extensively traveled across the country, across the uh, yes, the world. I must say there is lots yet to explore, but being able to visit some really unheard, unexplored heritage sites in the country, also as a part of an assignment given by Archaeological Survey of India. My passion also lies in inclusive design, universal accessibility. That is design that caters to needs of all kinds of people, particularly persons with disabilities and marginalized populations, including transgender population, which are generally left out of the entire thought process, design and development process. So I've been empaneled with the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment as an accessibility auditor, trainer, and expert for almost a decade now, and have worked on some very prestigious accessibility led campaigns for the country.
Right.
And yes, I'm privileged to be here, and I'm a student at heart, always ready to learn, more and more.
Right.
And I think I love, being in the principal's chair for almost 3 years now. Not because it is, understood as an administrative post generally, but I think it's an extremely creative post, and have been having fun time experimenting, doing some, new explorations with the teaching learning processes that can make architecture education, interesting for the students. So
Right. Thank
yeah,
you so
that's
much,
about me.
Kavita, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
It is nice to hear that there has been some thought put in across accessibility for everyone. Uh, Shanti, ma'am, lastly, could I get you to share a bit about yourself?
Good evening, one and all. I'm so happy to be here at this platform, sharing our thoughts in architecture and other technological and technical areas. And myself, Shanti, I'm academic here to School of Environment, Architecture and Design, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Namapuram campus. And I'm happy to see some of my seniors here and some of my mentors here.
Sorry to
And,
interrupt you, Shanti ma'am. Your volume is very low. Is it only me?
Your volume is very low, ma'am. If you could just.
Yeah, if you could just. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm from School of Environment Architecture and Design, SRM Ramapuram campus. And I'm so happy to see my seniors and my mentors over here.
Professor Shantini,
Yes, ma'am.
I think still it is low only. Your volume is very low.
One second.
Can you,
Ma'am, it's got better, but I think it's just, I don't think it'll go any better than that.
Now
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
it's good now?
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's fine.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So if I have to tell you about my hobbies, then I do a little bit of mandala painting, and then probably listening to music and cooking are my hobbies. So that keeps me engaged so that I can listen to the music and then cook for my family also. So that's it.
It is something that I enjoy as well, Shanti ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I think to begin the session today, as we heard some diverse, unique things about all the people who've joined us today, it is all about how you marry what you love doing and what you are as an education leader. How do you bring together what you love and kind of steer the whole school into a direction which becomes a beautiful place of learning? Today's session, as I said earlier, is been partnered by Datalogics. You would see numerous people who've joined us from Datalogic. It is headed by Bala. Bala, thank you so much for, as everybody said, thank you so much for, getting us all together on this platform. Can I please ask you to quickly get some introductions out about Datalogics and what do you do in architecture education?
So, thank you, Shima. Thank you, first of all, for organizing this. And I thank all great leaders who are here in this platform. So, myself, Bala, I head the education vertical for Data Logics. So, Apple is into our core. We are called as Apple Education Specialist, which means we support education institutions, faculty, and students, how you can integrate technology for learning and teaching. Along with Apple, we deal with numerous other software and solutions. So here, everyone I see as architect leaders. So we are called as solution technology architects. So we bring in, merge, and build our solutions by identifying the pain areas of every segment. So today, I have taken the title Strategic Listener. To give a fun fact about me, I do this as my fun fact. I travel and I listen to people, and we as a team provide solutions around it. So today, our purpose is also that. Along with me, my team is also there. And the key is like today we are here to listen, but this conversation, our discussions just not going to end here. We are the team who are going to drive it and understand your bottleneck and provide solutions for this in upcoming days by connecting with you individually also. Hoping for a very great discussions. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bala. As we now start on the discussions, I have a humble request because this is an online session and I know that people tend to have different, engagements which are going on side by side. One, can I ask everybody to have their full face that I can see them because I don't know if somebody is talking. Sometimes the cameras are a bit up and down. Secondly, if your video is not on, I'm assuming that you're engaged in something else. So I shall not be posting questions to you. I hope if you can keep your videos on for the next hour and a half so that I know that you're there with us on the session and I'm able to, direct questions towards you as well. So because this is an Apple session, I would also request you, Mr. Hitesh Shah, who heads the education division for Apple, the whole of Apple India, was to join us. I am not sure if he has. Generally, we're not allowed to, put any of this content online because of privacy issues with Apple. We want to ensure that this is a small group of people who have discussions around what do they really do in their organizations to make them better in terms of pedagogies, delivery, outcomes, academia and industry presentations and collaborations, as well as, what are we looking at going forward in terms of digital transformation in education, especially in architecture per se. We would also have Mr. Vishakha, who heads the CAD/BIM specialist from Datalogics, present to us around what Apple really does around, transitioning of for architectural education. With that, I would, begin the conversation of, the crux of what we're wanting to talk about. There is a huge transformation in architectural, implementation in terms of the technologies that architects use. There is so much of influx of 3D, AR, VR, and so many things that have come up. And with the advent of the knowledge that is present out there, what do you see your classroom transform into? Going forward. And I will quickly ask everybody to share in not more than 1 minute because I want everybody's inputs on this as much as I can because we are paucity of time as well. How do you see your classrooms transform with the advent of, new technologies coming in? What are the expectations of industry from the students that they take in terms of how technical savvy they need to be? What are your thoughts? Muralidhar, can I start with you?
That's a difficult choice you've given me that I have to start the conversation. But see, I call myself a maker. Okay. So when it comes to this, all the technological transformations that are happening, I believe the kind of students what we need to henceforth train is firstly we need to start realizing what is our role as a teacher now, because there is every possible information, there's every possible data, every possible thing at our fingertips. Now, the most important thing that we need to give our students is uh, learn how to learn. Okay, that's a very, very crucial thing because these are just tools which are coming and they will keep coming and it will keep on evolving. And one of the important thing that we are emphasizing in the school right from the beginning is about students understanding systems and systems thinking. That is the most crucial thing for me. This tech and tools are something which will keep evolving. We cannot.
And do you think there is an industry, there is demand from the industry to the way how they would like the students to be tech savvy, or is that not an onus on the architectural colleges?
How do we define industry for us is something what we need to put across. There's no one industry sitting there saying this is what we want, because I'm not telling this because I'm educated as an architect in my bachelor's, but the architecture bachelors who come out are the most versatile breed of products which can fit in anywhere as a thing. Not because they're not getting employment as architects, but the way the training happens, it makes you fit into multiple roles. Now, at the bachelor's level, it's very important that how we understand that and accept it. It's not that everyone who clears the 5-year architecture program has to practice architecture. This is a fact we have to accept. Otherwise, we're going to go to dogs.
Right. I agree. I think there is absolutely. I have also studied architecture in my graduation level, and I agree you fit in anywhere because of the diverse amount of knowledge that you get. And your mind opens up in various forms where creative thinking, design thinking, how do you fit in into various roles? And right now run a media house. I mean, right from how do you look at, having people to interact is also something that I feel, has inbuilt in your system as you learn all of that space. Can I get Madhumati ma'am to share? What do you think? Do you think education has changed as architecture, in the architecture space? And do you see industry expectations differ over a period of time?
Definitely, I would tell it's because recently we have, since we have a program on digital technologies in building, so we have been doing this exercise at least for 2 or 3 years to understand what industry needs and how should be the curriculum change. And surprisingly, if you see the school syllabus in the ICSE, they have in the 8th standards itself Python programming. So we were wondering what would we teach when they come to the college. So we were getting prepared for nearly 2 or 3 years because we couldn't launch at the one point of time. It was like a huge exercise to be done. How should we integrate into the curriculum? And also we were making many exercises with the industries also. It's because ultimately we are training people for the industry. So we were continuously interacting with the industries to know what they need and to what level we can provide also. It's because we don't, as the previous speaker rightly pointed out, we are not concentrating on one industry. So we couldn't frame a curriculum particularly for them. Then for the diversified backgrounds, we have to explore how to do it in our education. And also one other greatest challenge what we have is students also come from diversified backgrounds. Some of them are more literate on these digital skills, where some of them don't have the inclination. Then we had to find out the right way how to make them more inclined toward this, or how to have the uniform pace among all the students. Then we had to go for some hands-on workshops, rather than if you teach only the software, no one is getting attracted by it. Then we have finding out many methodologies. How do they see the tangible products out of it? Unless you see some tangible, small, at least a miniature models or something, then we were thinking how far to integrate in all other subjects of architecture rather than giving it like a separate software. It's because then there are so many other agencies outside who could offer the software also. Then they don't have to come to the college to study the software. So it was a huge exercise for us how to integrate this into architecture and how to make it more interesting for the students also.
Right. Right, ma'am. So as you said, how do you to make sure that it is widely available? And as Muralidhar rightly said, how do you teach them to learn is something that is a continuous process, so that anything new that you come across, the children are quickly able to adapt and learn that. Shanti ma'am, could I get you to share your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I feel it has to be like both the ways it has to be maintained. When we actually tend to go towards digitization, at one point of time, we forget that the hands-on drawings or sketchings or kind of things, which students are more likely to say that we are not actually going to do that because industry doesn't require those kind of things. I feel the digitization has to be seen as a tool, and probably we have to actually cultivate those kind of pedagogies where both the things are coming into phase. And then probably if we actually see when it comes to this kind of smart cities, all those things, then we have to actually concentrate more on IoT enabled infrastructures and other things where I feel we are actually lagging on. Probably in other areas, technically, we are actually going up because people have started learning Revit, people have started learning about BIM and all those things. But when it comes to urban level, probably I feel more of importance has to be given in that area when it comes to urban education side.
Right, ma'am. But on the follow-up question on that, Jaideep, could I ask you, when Shanti talked about that there has to be more emphasis on IoT, do you think uh, in urban education, definitely, do you think the integration of AI and digital tools in architectural design is something that would, is easy? Are there challenges? What are your thoughts upon that?
Um, right. Thanks for the question. It's interesting, right? Quite honestly, uh, we in our school, and I'll talk from our perspective what we do, so it might help bring that about. So we've been having this discussion, right? And the idea is really absolutely to use all AI and enabled tools. Why to step away from them, right? Why to actually, in fact, what's very interesting is if we think about, so I was talking to my students, and in fact, some of my former students who've now gone on to become different kind of designers. You see, one of the things you've got to understand is that how is knowledge itself changing with artificial intelligence? Um, we have to think of there are two forms of knowledge actually. There's what is called a cognitivist idea of knowledge, and there is something called an embodied idea of knowledge, right? AI as something that works brilliantly with something called the cognitivist form of knowledge, right? Everything in architecture and design, which is based on a cognitivist idea of knowledge, right? AI is extremely good at, right? And it doesn't make sense for us to not um, incorporate those. Right? Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's say there's a particular software, let's say Midjourney, for example, which says, here's a prompt, blah, 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 just make this image how I want it to be. That's a cognitivist, algorithmic based exercise of what ought to happen with an image. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Writing the prompt, however, is an embodied form of knowledge.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Right. And there are both aspects to it, right? So I think what's important is for us to realize that there's a whole lot of place that remains for the embodied form of knowledge, which goes back to some of it goes back to this idea of making that Murali talked about. Some of it, I think actually writing is a form of making, in fact, in a certain sense, right? So this idea of making, this idea of writing, all of this, which is taking up your embodied experience, I think is actually very much on the rise at one level, right? And the cognitivist part of it remains how it is. So I personally, and our school as such, it says both are here, both have very interesting things. Let's see how we can marry them. So I don't know if that answers what you were asking.
Because I think I agree. And I don't know how many in the group would really, what are your thoughts on what Jaideep think? It's right, because it is not a technology that is going away. It is something that you have to kind of learn. And as you said, the embodied idea of how do you create those prompts to make the best use of that is not something that you can shy away if you don't know how to use that whole
You can,
technology.
if you give me 1 second, I'll just share one quote that the New York Times came up with last year. He said, our children are going to be working on problems that we have no idea about using tools that we have no idea about in a certain sense, right? And for us to kind of go, we are shy and we are afraid of all of this, it doesn't make any sense, right? So in a sense, it kind of goes back to some of the things I think Murli was saying earlier on. The idea is for us to realize that while certain things change, certain things stay constant. And as educators, it becomes important for us to be able to sift those out, right? And see how the constant and the change actually interacts in a certain sense. Sorry, just wanted to throw that in there too.
The knowledge of how designing happens stays constant.
At
There,
some level, at some level,
at
yes.
some level, in the sense that yes, there are new things that you kind of
Right.
get into it. And I think even if when I was studying, I don't know how much it has changed since. um, there was so much of information that you would have across the world on what architecture and how things were designed. I think using the right technology now you get all of that information across the world at your fingertips to be able to then map it into how your design would look better and functional
Mhm.
and be able to
Mhm.
create something that have a modeling system where you know where the problems are. I think technology
Mhm.
can be very effectively used so that you can identify the problems before while you're designing them rather than identifying while you're making them. I think that is
Right.
also something that now I've kind of realized is a huge explosion of rethinking as to how design can be. uh,
Right.
Jyoti ma'am, what are your thoughts? Do you think the AR and VR would make a difference or change in the way architectural learning happens? Would that be something that you would be wanting to explore?
Yeah, definitely. When you look into the like traditional architecture where we had an idea, we were converting that into the first part is like the sketchings, and then later it has become like the 3D models, and later it has become the physical model. So automatically, before the design has been done, it has been shown to the client with these kind of tools. And now, actually speaking, AR and VR is giving the next option for the client so that he can experience the space and he can walk through the space and he will be able to get a better idea. So definitely, because people are also wanted the real experience rather than the kind of what you call it as tools which they are going to invest money and how it will look like, how they are going to feel the space, how the furniture has been arranged over there, what is the color combination, how the interior will be, all kinds of minute detail also we can actually show through with the AR and VR. So that is like a very good experience. But what happens in realistic world, again, that is like a virtual world. In realistic world, there will be little bit of what you call it as changes will happen, definitely.
Right.
Even in the physical model, when we are doing the model and the actual building, there is definitely because of the context and the people who are going to use that space, definitely there will be a change. Because
Right.
again, it is becoming very personal. See,
Right.
the client becomes very important. As Jaideep sir rightly pointed out, you are having a prompt and you are using the prompt to give the design, how the design will evolve and how the design will look like. But at the end of it, it is the architect who is going to, what do you call it as, take a balance between the reality and the virtuality. And he is only going to give the real design to the client according to the needs of the client, understanding of the client, and understanding the client's, what do you call it as, lifestyle, his, what do you call it as, passions, his
Right. Right.
family. So many things are there which
Right.
no softwares can do
Right.
that.
I think multiple aspects of whoever we're designing for also brings into the picture as to how the whole outlook would be. Thank you so much for sharing that. Mahalakshmi ma'am, could I get you to share thoughts about to ponder on what Jaideep and Jyoti ma'am talked about? Do you think integration of IT and digital tools in architectural design technology and AR and VR are the next things to be looking at?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I came back to academics like after some time. Okay, so when I entered, like I felt like the students are not having physical practice on sketching other stuff, right? Because like from third year onwards, like they started because when we studied, or now like we don't use like software still final years, like we learned everything after that, and so I felt like students are not using all those stuff. But like once I started like exploring with the students, what the students are doing like after going from final year, they like as ma'am said, like there are some agents like those who can provide offers for teaching softwares, and then they spend the whole money what they learned for the whole course, right? So to learn softwares, okay, after that. So like by exploring, like we are also providing like digital software. We have like a urban design also, for example. So we need like just without just we cannot do anything to do urban design now, like so. And also, I mean, the students will get employability, as you said, like they can, and I agree with that. Like architects can fit in like any field, like because of their diversified like learning process. So I know AR and VR it's like very must I hear. Like now, some of our students are doing dissertation on metaverse architecture. So to go up to that level, obviously we need to change the system of integrating softwares and then artificial intelligence into our system. Though we have like we may be missing like a physical and emotional feels in the designing architecture thing, because if you wanted to do metaverse architecture kind of thing, like we may miss like emotional and these things. But yeah, we need to integrate the softwares and techies in architecture to do.
Right. I think there is a huge shift from how, designing used to happen, and how technology has now started integrating into how various design things are happening. Muralidhar, there are some challenges that institutions face as we talked about how do you use various technologies. What are your thoughts on what are the challenges you guys face while you're transitioning from a traditional form of learning? For example, there was talk of CAD when I was learning to now BIM is the next wave where, as I said, how do you ensure that there are better transition, there is better outcomes? What are your thoughts on that? What are the challenges you guys face on transitioning to anything new?
Actually, see, it's a very good question that you asked because in 2015, when we first started the school, we were one of the first schools where we gave importance to Rhino as the primary tool, not CAD. CAD anyway, because there was a MOU with Autodesk and they came in part of the system, but we brought in Rhino as one of the primary tools because this I'm talking much before we started the makerspace at the campus because I had realized this in 2003 when I was part of a workshop, uh, part of a 2-week workshop in Germany where uh, we were designing certain products for the elderly, differently abled people. So this is when we had done a certain product, and when I had gone to kind of prototype it, I was referred to a model maker. And usually, model maker, in a sense, is someone who has a shop and they make models. But to my surprise, this model maker had a 2-acre shop floor. And he used to make models for Mercedes, Maybach, Shell, and all these people. So when I had shown that we have done the sorry, my connection is right.
Yeah, your video got frozen, but we could totally hear you.
Maybe I'll switch off my video and for
No
a
worries.
time being.
Yes.
So when I took my model there, I realized that the power of using a certain tool, because he could immediately convert that Rhino file into a where he had some 4 or 5 CNC routers of 8 by 4 bed size. He could immediately convert that file, and we could get the prototype by end of the day. So that's when I realized the power of tools, if you can understand the right tools. And we introduced Rhino in the school right when we started. And like that, we have been enabling the students. We show them these are the paths available. Makerspace is one of the amazing workshops that we have in the campus, where all the departments we encourage them to use because it does not belong to any one department.
Right.
So, and I don't see these as challenges, I see these as opportunities. So, we've never found that kind of a situation where technology has become a challenge. It's an
Right.
opportunity.
Right. Yeah, I agree because as you rightly said, it is a new opportunity to see how you can transition from something. And once you open your thoughts to that, a beautiful thought that you shared about somebody, and I had a similar experience. I was visiting a university in Australia at Gold Coast. And while we entered the architecture division of that university, I was taken aback about the kind of 3D models that they were creating. and it was the work floor was bigger than the whole college, because everything that they would learn had to be first created into a 3D model, and it was a 12 by 12 feet big 3D modeling machine that they had in the college, which is very thinkable, at least from the college that I studied from. So it was a huge thing. In fact, while we're talking to each other, I also wanted to point out, if anybody has to add anything to a discussion point, please raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to, steer the conversation towards you so that we are all engaged in this conversation. Jaideep ji, please do share. You're on.
Just to add, I mean, you asked about challenges. I don't know if anybody else has had this thing. Interestingly, the challenges to adoption of technology has come from students. I don't know if any of you have faced this. I'll give you an example of what I mean. So we told our students that we don't want you to use CAD. The reason we don't want you to use CAD is you have to understand CAD was developed actually as an engineering tool, right? So it actually works with points and lines. Okay, it really does not work from an architectural perspective, which actually Revit does. Revit gets developed later on. Revit actually uses a fundamentally different way in which it, imagines the space. And we started our students with Revit. We did not even teach them CAD. Okay. Not only did we not teach them CAD, we said, okay, you're using Revit. Let's just take Revit, use twin motion along with it, and turn everything into a AR/VR experience. Why the hell do you even need models anymore? You really don't even need models anymore, right? Why don't you just take everybody inside the thing? Our students were actually very, very scared by this, which is very interesting. So I don't know if anybody else faced this, right? Because they were like, I'm not going to take names. They were like, oh, well, this quote unquote established school of architecture does not really do things this way. And I said, well, because they're still teaching you a curriculum which is at least 50 years old. Let me turn around and tell you that the rest of the world is doing something else. There's no reason. You have to understand that a model was essentially a 16th century way of, because there are no other ways to show you these things, can be so for me, what's interesting is the challenges that were presented really, okay, were from a kind of a bad idea of what comprises architectural representation that those of us, but incidentally, I am not an architect. I want you to know my first PhD is in anthropology and my second PhD is in history. So I'm not really an architect, right? Only my undergraduate degree, that too, and after that, I've never practiced. Most of my teaching has been in the United States. So somebody like me who's not really scared by or even influenced by this idea of what comprises architecture, for me, it was very open and very cool to say, okay, what is happening in the world? How is things changing, right? And yet, when I came back to India about a decade ago, what was interesting to see, and I see it from my own experience, is that the discipline itself was responsible for actually putting a weird idea of what comprises representation, right? So that's one challenge. And I think students, and what the Italian theorist Antonio Gramsci has called, what has become commonsensical knowledge for architecture is actually a problem that is getting in the way of things. There's another challenge that I think that's out there. And here I think I really want to talk to, I'm loving the fact that it's ELH Media and Apple that is coming together, is that we need to figure out, especially for, and I don't say this so much maybe for my school, but some of these technologies are extremely expensive. We need to address this issue, right? We need to address this issue, and we need to figure out how the industry and academia, especially in design, can come together, right? And figure out ways in which we can pool our resources to create fantastic spaces that allow us to kind of cross-pollinate our things. So, you talked about the 2 acre making space, right? Somebody talked about. So, we've had to do that, but that takes a lot of resource out, and many times it doesn't. So, how do companies come together, right? How do we create a culture of giving in India? How do we create a This, I think, is a huge challenge and something I would really love, for others to talk about a bit. How have they dealt with it, and how have they been working on it?
Can I quickly post that question to Kavita ji? Muralidhar, I'll come to you. Kavita, what do you think? Are your challenges similar to what Jaideep talked about? We can't hear you, Kavita.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say it's a mixed bag. Okay. I would like to start with saying that yes, technology is certainly changing the game. And like Muralidhar sir said, that we have to. Our role is more becoming how to teach students to learn. So I think yes, I mean learning technology, integrating technology is inevitable. We cannot afford not to keep pace with the changing technology. I would like to, talk about architectural practice in 4 spheres. Generally, it happens. So there are 4, like, there is research, there is design, there is technology, and there is management. And I think uh, technology is influencing the way each of these spheres are or have been practiced or have been, the processes underlying all these 4 spheres. And I think what our role as academicians would be to teach them how to use technology and how to not use technology. So to respond to Jaideep's question, that yes, it is, sometimes technology is definitely costly and impactful in a negative sense as well. We're talking about, say, parametric architecture or the kind of digital architecture that is being practiced, which is coming with a huge amount of carbon footprint and really questions the whole sustainability aspect of the project. I think that's where we will have to kind of put in the wisdom into our students and onto how to use and how to not use technology. In fact, at my end, there is a demand for integrating technology because it is also impacting the salary packages of the students. Obviously, the industry is demanding better skills and higher skills, advanced skills. So a student who is probably having, I'm not now having knowing Revit is, I think, is absolutely a basic kind of an expectation. But any student having the knowledge of BIM as well definitely gets almost a double amount of internship stipend. So I think yes, I mean there is time that we integrate these technologies, and we've started taking those steps in that direction, integrating, replacing AutoCAD with Revit, and then teaching them Grasshopper, Rhino, and advanced technologies for simulating and for bringing in the sustainability aspects. So at different stages, like I started, I mean technologies which are going to make research more time effective and resourceful, technologies that are going to help in design as well as its communication, representation, technologies which are going to help in developing or probably achieving, probably designs which have never been built before. And of course, I mean, the whole, the realm of management that can definitely become more and more effective with technology integration. So I think we have to look at all the 4, and there is, a lot of scope in and different kinds of technologies and softwares that will have to be integrated into the basic course.
I love the idea that you talked about, Kavita, that how you can develop new designs. Sometimes you're also, although we have a diverse kind of thought on how designs can be, when you integrate technology, it also helps you think beyond what your mind space goes on to, because it is getting that knowledge from across the world on what has been created with the most brilliant of minds, and gives you various permutations and combinations.
Yeah, but overusing technology can
Absolutely.
also be a big threat. So let's look at the
Yeah,
threats as well.
yeah, yeah, I
And
agree.
having said this, I think the traditional ways of, how an architect would, think and put ideas is not going to change, because that's going to remain the USP of that architect, right?
Right,
And
that's very
he's
true.
going to take that away from the architect. Yes, there can be a lot of architects who can, use technology to probably deliver, but what one is going to deliver is going to depend upon the individual's creativity, and nobody is going to take. Yes, I may be changing the tool with which I was sketching. So probably, yesterday I was sketching on a paper, and today I might be sketching on an iPad. So
Right,
I mean, I think and I
that's
might
all
be
it is.
using a digital pencil, right? But I think that's going to stay.
Right. Muralidhar, you had something to add to this.
Too many thoughts have passed by till then, but I would like to continue what Jaideep had mentioned about the cost of technology. It's a very true thing, but there are many ways which I think the industry also can positively contribute. One of the things, I'll just give you an example of what we have done at the school. Right from the when we started the school, we introduced a course which became part of the curriculum, which we took it from the first semester of architectural education, where we have something called as model making workshop. We took that and we have spread it across 3 semesters called as the foundation workshops. Now, these foundation workshops is something which where model making workshop is about skill building. The foundation workshops are about not just skill, but about attitude building. So it goes across the first, third, and the fifth semester, where you first semester you start looking closely, third semester you start understanding complexities, and the fifth semester you start looking at finding opportunities. Now, this is where the industry can plug in. And another course which we have introduced is called full scale. That means it's 1:1, and it's not about design. It's about collaborating. It's about learning from others. It's about building, basically. So this is where I see opportunities, where now I can, as a private university, I can open up this course to all of you who are running the schools to participate, and industry can pitch in. So I
Right.
see possibilities.
Great. I also have, I think it's a great thoughts on what are the challenges, what really goes behind, building new technologies into architectural. Madhumati ma'am, you wanted to share something.
The greatest challenge what we faced was a competent faculty. It's because the transformation happened suddenly, but then the faculty weren't competent enough. And it's not that one or two trained faculty can do this. It's because we need many faculty, only then this percolates into the studios at all levels. So we had some training sessions for few faculty, and also what we had to do is we had to take support from Autodesk and other people. But then the real challenge was to make the students understand, and the other one was all the faculty still now it's not they haven't got trained. So still we are in the learning phase only, and even if we get trained, the pace at which the industry is transforming or the software levels are transforming, we couldn't meet, because there should be certain people who are dedicated for continuous learning also.
Right. So I think the way the faculty gets trained on new technology is also something, it's a big challenge. Not only you can put in technology, but unless the people who are going to teach are competent enough and have the training enough, then they are able to, deliver that to the students. Hiteshi, could I get you to share your screen, or are you there with us on the session?
I'm very much there. In fact, that was a good point that you brought up. I was going to speak about that point when Dr. Muralidhar was speaking, because he identified all the challenges. And the best part was the surprising element, which was uh, pretty different when Jaideep sir mentioned about that students are not adapting, which was kind of a little different for me, because generally these students are digital natives. They know what they are trying to do. And finally, of course, the point that Madhumita ma'am brought up right now is the faculty training. Of course, it's never about just deploying any form of technology. It's always about how do you deploy it, what is the vision for it, how do you make sure that you build your internal capacity and capability of the students, of the faculties, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who need to handhold the students through the adoption journey. So completely love that point, because we, from an Apple perspective, when we engage, we own that particular piece. It's not left to the colleges or schools to define how they're going to engage, but we kind of define the path for them, saying that when you're going through a change management, it's critical that the vision, mission, and the deliverables with measurable impact is identified and communicated to all stakeholders. And that's one of the biggest things that we do. And I'm glad that we brought that subject up. Sorry, Seema, I was on mute and my video was off,
No, no worries. I thought
but I was
I'll
listening to all the conversations.
no, I thought I'll introduce you before I, give over the, session discussions to you. So Hitesh heads
No,
the education division for Apple India, and he works with all the partners across the country. And Jadeep, sir, you have something?
Sorry, I want to clarify something. Students want to learn software, but software does not mean technology.
not at all.
I want to change that. So I don't want us to make that equation. If we are talking about digitizing education, we are talking about something I think far beyond just the insertion of software. Because what we don't want to make, excuse my using the term, CAD monkeys. This is we do not want to become a BPO. That's not what we want to do at the end of the day, right? So yes, students want to do a lot of software because they think it's going to get them the next, it's going to increase their money in the thing. That's not what we are interested in. The question is fundamentally, how is technology changing what we understand reality to be? And that's where I think the thing is fundamentally changing. What's very interesting is, while students, and you're right, Hitesh, they are actually digital natives. But what's very interesting is that oftentimes, even though they are digital natives, what they don't realize is actually what is the difference between an analog and a digital world, and that the digital world ultimately requires a fundamentally different orientation. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Why do we really need plans, elevation sections anymore? Let me ask that question of any architect who is sitting here. Why do we need it when I can take somebody into the building in VR and make them explore the building? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, this is a fundamentally different question. Now, when we did that, and that is what we were doing with our students, they said, sir, but you're not teaching us to make plans elevation section. I said, I don't need that anymore. I can make you wear a glass and a set of glasses. I can make you wear on a stand on a sensor pad and take you inside a building completely, right? Where you can kind of touch a wall and its texture will change. You can swipe it and its paint will change. That's what I mean. That is what they're resisting. So it's very interesting what's happening. I think we've got to ask ourselves, if we think about digital as only the insertion of the software, then students want that. That's okay. But I think that's what the problem is. Digital means a fundamentally different orientation to what we are doing. The very idea of what is reality is changing today. We have started a course. It's called Immersive Digital Environments. It's the first such course in the country. Okay.
Wow.
The fundamental idea is that more than any place, we are fundamentally always living in a mediated Take, for example, what's happening right now. All of us, 15 different people from all over the world, maybe, are sitting together having a conversation. More and more, our environments are mediated, digital, augmented environments. So fundamentally, this requires a completely different orientation of how we need to approach even that which is the technological. So I meant it more like that. I think fundamental level changes, students are actually resisting, is what's very interesting. So I just wanted to put that in there. Sorry.
No, absolutely right. And it's interesting because you bring that perspective where we are talking of immersive teaching and learning practices where people
Yes.
can actually experience it rather than only drawing it for the sake of drawing it, for example.
Yes, it's just not a mere representational technique. I think it goes beyond that.
Very well said.
It's an experiential matter now. So I think that's where we've got to understand is what has changed in a certain sense, right? And how do we bring that in? And I think what's very interesting is, and I think the reason why I brought up that point is, I think the profession, whether it is design, whether it is architecture, has themselves in a certain sense. I mean, design has been much better than architecture in this realm, actually, right? But architecture, I would argue, has really resisted at some level this kind of a thing. And I think that's why I was interested in hearing if anybody had done such an experiment and if then students had, because we have. We just said we will not make you do drawings anymore. We will begin you from the computer. No hands anymore. What happens then? Right? And it's very interesting to see, how the students are reacting. Because most of the students, we just said, look, you spend all your time on a. So how do you do that? Okay, everything is happening on a smartphone or a tablet. In fact, smartphones are going to become obsolete now. Mark Zuckerberg just came and said, all right, they're investing multiple money on augmented reality. So the idea is, okay, you're not even, your eyelid is going to do things. If that's what we are going towards, what is the need anymore for just even a plan elevation section? No, you're just going to have an augmented reality, which is just going to say, okay, here's what my room is going to look like. I can wear these glasses and get to know.
Yeah, but
Then what?
does any other college have insights as to how, how do you deal with the situation like that? How do you, as Jaideep talked about, there are things that, is the future. You can see the future talking through various aspects in our lives. And, how do you kind of integrate into the present so that they are future ready? Or how, and that's what Jaideep is probably wanting to talk about. Uh, can I quickly ask Vishakha? He is the CAD BIM specialist with Data Logics. Vishakha, you must have talked to various institutions across the country. What are
Yep.
your thoughts? What are the challenges that Jaideep, Muralidhar, Madhumati ma'am, and all others talked about? What are your experiences? How do you think?
First of all, very hi to everyone, and I'm also very happy to share. Happy to be part of this panel discussion, and I'm also graduated under the leadership of Jyoti Lakshmi. She is right here in the panel discussion.
That's super.
So uh, the this is I really enjoyed the process of implementing BIM in architectural practice and as well as nurturing the same in architectural education institutions as well. Um, so one of the positive thing that I've faced ever with, of course, I also do it for engineering as well. The positive thing that I've faced here is that is the adaptability. So architectural community itself is adaptable to any kind of scenarios. So it's not defined by one sort of a structure by itself. It is diversified so much in a way that they will tend to pick up whatever they need. So as Mulidhar sir pointed out one important thing, saying he wanted to design a product. So for an architect, designing a product is not an usual thing. For everybody's perspective is like architects are only meant to be designing the buildings. It's not. They can design industry. So the biggest thing what common audience not aware of it is architectural community are the one which is shaping the society, unknowingly shaping the society, and you are in that society. Nobody knows that. So you are sitting inside of four walls. It's designed by an architect, and built by engineers. They've just followed it. The only point which is more important that I felt in this process is the tools, whatever that have been there, which is technologically evolved, are there just to communicate. So 2 points that I need to add on what Mr. Jaideep has said. For AI, you need to be capable enough to give prompts. The better you give prompts, the greater you get visual. So to give prompt, you need to know what the subject is.
Yep.
Okay. And second thing is where do you start learning all this softwares or so-called technologies? Can we ignore technologies? Absolutely no. We cannot ignore technologies. So we need technology to basically be more competitive and as well as manage your time in the competitive field. So now you can choose any tool to communicate what you want. End of the day, you have to be flexible enough, not devote yourself to one particular technology. And because of the restriction of technology, your creative process will not go away. So the most important factor, what we see here is where is the starting point for it? The exact starting point of that eventually be right from the education. Now, the most important thing, what we have even structurized in the process of implementing so far 10 years, whatever I've done right now is we established something called Industry Institute Partnership. The biggest plus point of architectural community is people who practice are the one who teaches. Unlike the engineering community and all, you will eventually have a master graduate who is done recently, and they'll be immediately jumping into the teaching field, and they're good to teach. And there are few of majority of faculties right there in the country who just graduated from masters and they're into teaching. But that is good. It's subjective. It keeps going under whose leadership the department is, how they are taking up to. So it's under the leadership. So coming back to the point, it's the biggest aspect, whatever I felt in this process, is we decided, a structurized workflow of adapting to architectural technologies to get what architects need at the end of the day. It's not restricted to one particular technology that they can do only their work in that. So eventually it will not, end of the day, will help them. So architects are a diversified people, and they need different sort of technological aspects to be learned to be able to communicate.
Okay.
So this is to only communicate to an end user or to an engineer who can build it. But
Right.
architects themselves will eventually have all their knowledge. So they are just using this as a communicative tool. So the only challenge here is the teachers getting adapt to it, learn it, allocate time, and then teach the same to the students, wherein the students are already excited with some external knowledge that has been spread over YouTube and so on. They already got excited, but the formalized way of building that course is what the challenge is. And when we also offer something to conquer that, we also offered something called Train the Trainer program with proper exit strategy plan. So when I'm saying proper exit strategy plan, if the trainer is about to leave the organization, and we will create immediately another trainer who will fill that role in. And then we also make sure the affordability, which Jaideep sir has pointed out. So the affordability is more important when we are dealing with various set of technologies at education institutions. So I personally believe at education institutions, we have to provide choice of menu rather than choice of food. If you give only a choice of food, then you are basically molding a person to its limited ability. So this is what a kind of experience that I would like to share. Of course, if we get into the strategy over, we have 4 different stages, and it takes quite a long of time to explain it.
Right. Thank you so much, Vishakha. I think we would want you to, talk to everybody one-to-one, post the discussion, and see if there are ways in which,
Absolutely.
share.
So
on,
I would like to also thank each and every participant to be able to share their painful areas. This is what something, which I wanted to understand. And also thank you, Seema, for bringing that out. You have taken this so nicely so that everybody being participated in this discussion.
Thank you so much, Vishaka.
Thank you.
We are also talking about change in curriculum. The basics, as we say, remain the same. Do you think with the advancement of how technology is now seeping into our architectural education, there has to be the pedagogies in terms of architectural pedagogies? Mahalakshmi ma'am, do you think there is a need of that?
Yes, like integrate, you mean like pedagogy methods, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Actually, as Jaydeep has said, like we have to integrate softwares or technology from the starting. As I said, like recently, when we asked our students to learn Rhino, though we have some softwares in the third semester onwards. So the as I said, like people are resisting on it. Like, no, ma'am, we don't want. We wanted to do with this one, this one. So we don't want to learn this one. So then again, we made it as a point, like everybody should learn, and then we have to make it like later you can choose like however you like to do. So even in the pedagogy method, we need to have a change technologies because we are growing in.
Sorry.
Something here.
No, you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah. So we need to have that one because in actually, as sir said, like we need to, the teachers should be trained on the software technologies and other stuff. Technologies, they should be trained first to teach them.
Right.
And there should be integration of most of the collaboration of our AI technologies and softwares and techniques should be there from the first semester onwards.
Right. So you feel there has to be integration which happens from the beginning of how it.
Beginning, yeah, because like later stage, like what happens, like sometimes people are restricted with the softwares. Like I actually, as I said, what do they do? Like if they cannot make a curve on AutoCAD or Revit, so they will they will not go for that option.
Right.
So it should be taught from the earlier stage, like how to do that, and then to experience through their projects. It should be experienced through their projects.
Right. Muralidhar, you want to share something?
Yeah, I wanted to share. I know this conversation has been very well curated in terms of the technologists in the picture, but I would like to provocate some larger thoughts. I'll start with what Kavita mentioned, that she's talking about design for the marginalized. And this thing, we are a population of 1.4 billion. And we need to look at the kind of architectural education that is going to, if it has to survive and if it has to go forward, what is our approach in that aspect? How is the technology and industry going to contribute for that? In the School of Architecture, my specialization or my core interest is in the foundation, and I deal with the thesis students. When I am guiding my thesis students, about 6 of them I'm guiding, their tagline is build light, build less. Now, we have built enough. Now is the time we say how not to build or where not to build. So, can technology enable that? Okay, so can we start putting across that aspect? Because we all talk about, use one word left, right, and center, that is sustainability. And now we've also added garnishing to it, SDGs, and all those things we bring in. But what are we giving it to our students? So this is a provocation. This might not have anything to do with all the tech partners who have come in and things.
So, Muralidhar, I think the whole idea of having this discussion is to be able to bring across any discussions that we had around nurturing our institutions and how we think education has to be. Apple has been very instrumental and very, I think my narrative towards this discussion has always been how can we ignite discussions, and not only about technology, but discussions on how can we make educational institutions better, and what do we see we can rope in more, and that comes from Hitesh more than anything else. So
Because at the end of
has
the day, Hitesh has his numbers, Hitesh has his targets. It's a fact of life. But
I
that can be directed in a right
and I
way.
am not the one to answer that, but I know for sure that when we started having these discussions 3 years back, my first narrative was we do not listen, as Bala talked about. We do not listen what are the issues that a day-to-day organization, institution faces while managing, running those, and what really goes behind an administrator as to how institution should be. Am I wrong, Hitesh? Is that the narrative you shared to me? Okay, let's get discussions going. Let's see what really people go through, and if there is a way we could ignite and mutual discussions. Anybody thinks is there an answer to what Muralidhar talked about? Hitesh ji? Do you think there
Sorry,
is?
I was on. Sorry, Seema. No, no,
So,
no. I was on mute.
no worries. I think we talked about you a lot while you were
No, no, no.
on.
I heard Dr. Muralidhar speaking. I have my targets. I have my numbers. All of that. I definitely heard him. The, but just from more of a generic conversation, to be honest. While yes, business is there, that's a requirement. Everybody knows that that's a part and parcel of life. However, one of the core values that we practice at Apple is education. And this is not something that I'm saying. It's actually a core value because that's where we start building our products with education at the center. And this is the outside in view. The reason where we started these conversations once upon a time with Hima was primarily to hear what is it that we could look at doing more from an Indian context perspective, because we were doing education at a different level altogether. We work with schools, we work with colleges, all of that happens, but the intent is there. Now, specifically, when you look at our approach of engaging with institutes, there is where it differs. We don't we don't ever dictate that this is how it has to be done. There is a particular way in which we work with the institutes to help them build the capacity and the capability internally. At the same time, we believe completely, and that's one of the things that is there as an action item that I have taken. I would love to visit OP Jindal and understand how are they doing the immersive way of teaching and learning, because that's something that we specialize on. If you actually look at the whole concept of how we have built our entire offerings around the immersive part of it, of course, that's a product that's not yet launched in India. However, whenever it comes to India, and I have experienced it myself in Cupertino, because
Yep.
genuinely, you actually can feel the rhino coming and eating you.
Yep.
That's the level of immersiveness that it has. Having said that, but we do specialize on these areas specifically in the Indian context. And that's where we love to hear these elements from you guys, where it gives us an insight as to, hey, by the way, like one of the ma'ams mentioned about faculty education example, right? That was one of the core subject areas. Now we have a team of 30 teachers who actually go and practice teaching this, how to deliver your content or how to deliver your lesson with technology as an aid. We never replace the teacher. Believe me, it's practically impossible to replace teachers. It's just that a right tool in the hand of the teachers can enhance our teaching and learning. And that's a core fundamental value that we believe in. And that's what we practice as well when we go to schools and colleges that we work with. Coming to the question that was there, and Sima, keep me honest here, because I was actually wanting to step out of this room. I wanted to go to the another room, but and that's when somebody bumped into me. But nevertheless, I sat down there only now, so it's okay. So when I believe the question was around the cost part of it, right? That was primarily one of the areas where people had, like Muralidhar sir wanted to explore what are the different possibilities that are there, or how can we ensure that the cost parts are taken care of. Now, as I mentioned to you, education is a core value. It does not add to a very meaningful number from an Apple perspective. We are a consumer company. We are known for our products. And if you see all our advertisements also, they focus only on the product. There is nothing else that we talk of ever. Having said that, there is another angle to the entire proposition, which is the untold story of Apple, to be honest. And I can share it with this audience with a lot of confidence in it, primarily because the fact is we have something called as Apple Financial Services in the country. Now, when you look at this, it's not about loaning or leasing or anything else. The entire product offering is being created to suit the requirement of the institute. I have never come across a leasing company in the country which actually says that I don't want to make money out of leasing. We have a lot of cash, touch wood. Well, that's something that Tim Cook needs to worry about. But we have a lot of money in cash, which is a public knowledge. Having said that, how can I make sure that technology reaches to the wider audience and not with the intent of technology, with the intent of it being an aid or a tool which the teachers can leverage to have greater immersive teaching learning experiences where the learning outcome is something when you measure it at the end of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you can see a drastic difference. And by the way, just so that you are aware, we have tools today, Touchwood, with the entire team that works on education worldwide. And most of them are like yourself, who are educators, but now work with Apple, who have curated tools not only to measure how you're going to measure the impact, not only in terms of teaching learning, but also with all stakeholders keeping in mind. So it could be a teacher who can think of efficiency, who can think of student engagement as a teacher, or who can bring in multimodal feedback, for example. Even the smallest of the things has been factored. And when it comes to management, where their entire objective, the senior management, is does it help me achieve my goals as management, primarily on the lines of efficiency, cost savings, or does it drive admissions? Even that is one of the core criteria that management look at, saying that, okay, this is driving admissions for me. All stakeholders, we have tools identified, curated specifically to measure the overall impact of whatever is the spend. It could be as bare minimum as possible, doesn't matter. And this tool, by the way, is available even for you if you want to measure the impact of whatever technology you've deployed. Forget about Apple. It could be a simple smart board. Even then, this tool is available for you to understand what are the areas of improvement that I need to work on as a management part of the university, so that I know that whatever has been invested, as I mentioned to you, even if it is smart boards, doesn't matter. I still need to understand what is the impact of that particular investment that I've done. Those tools are available. They are available free of cost. You just need to request. It comes to you.
Right.
And there are these kind of very good examples I can give you with confidence that when we do this, it's pure passion that drives us, nothing else.
Right.
I'm
Thank
not even 3% of India business, by the way, just so that you are aware of it. And
Right.
it doesn't matter to us.
Right. Thank you so much, Hitesh. I think that was nicely answered to share that, obviously, and that's why I think all of us are together here, because we wanted to kind of get your thoughts more than be able to. If you think that these sessions just create some kind of learning point from each other and to us and the Apple team to learn about how institutions think and build and are growing and changing. I think that has always been the core of all of these discussions. Anybody would like to share any parting thoughts, because we're coming to the end of the sessions? Any questions you have for Hitesh, Data Logics, Bala, and the team? We'd be more than happy to answer them. Yes, Muralidhar.
Hitesh ji, any thoughts of Apple having centers for excellence in institutions. We will be very happy to initiate those.
We do have a program which we conduct, and specifically the best part about this particular center of excellence is we have a few in the country today. I'm not sure if you are aware, we have focused a lot on engineering because there is curricula also to support it, but we have something on the creative side as well, and we'll be happy to engage on those lines. We do create center of excellences. The honestly, my favorite is Galgotia that's created in Noida. Greater Noida is where we have a center of excellence specifically for iOS development. Uh, it's one of its kind. Whenever if you want to, any one of you, it's an open invitation. If you really want to come and see what is the depth of work that we have done there, please let us know. We'll organize that trip for you.
Jaideep,
And Jaideep sir had a question.
No, I just very simple. Firstly, I wanted to invite you, Hitesh ji. Anytime you want to come here, I'd love
I'm
to talk
surely
more.
coming. 100%.
I'd like to also explore the possibility of doing something for a center of excellence, like Murli said. It sounds like, and we'd like to pick your brains more on how we can work together on some things.
Love to
We'll
do
do
that.
some things that I think you'll find a little fascinating, and Apple, I know, always does things that we'll find fascinating. So I'd love
Wonderful.
for us to figure out ways to be able to do that together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
On it.
Open invite anytime. Just let me know. I will probably
I'll
get
do
in
that.
touch with you soon. All right.
Sure.
right. With that, thank you so much. If there are no more questions that need to be asked, Hitesh, any parting thoughts that you can kind of end the discussion on? I would like to personally thank you all for this beautiful discussion. Bala and his team would reach out to you individually, see if there are ways that Hitesh and the team can come and talk to you, see if there are networking opportunities, if there are ways that you can explore on enhancing whatever you're presently doing and building that up to the next notch with the technologies that the team has to offer. Hitesh, last passing thoughts, please.
Thank you so much, Seema, for getting this organized. I know it's a huge mammoth task to have such great leaders on one platform. And believe me, even to make sure that the conversation is meaningful to everyone, it's not easy. Believe me, genuinely, it's not easy. And it takes a lot of effort and work that goes behind. Thank you, Seema. Thank you, Meenu, for working together on this and ensuring that we get to understand the perspectives and share what we are able to contribute in a meaningful manner. And the best part that I would love forward to is any opportunity where you believe that we can add any value. We'll be more than honored to work with you. Our team is there. We are there, always ready to see what is the next level of differentiation we can create. By the way, just as you know, in one of the remotest parts of the country today, we are working on the lines of creating a school of skills. And that's like the next big thing that we are doing, 18,000 square feet of area. But we are working on ensuring that, and it's a CBSE school, by the way. That school is establishing something called as School of Skills. And we are actively engaged on that particular piece. So we do a lot of different things, and we love to do that, by the way. And honestly, it becomes a good story for us from India. It helps.
Bala, you wanted to
Thank you.
share? I just saw. Yes, please.
Yes. So first, I thank each and every leader for this contribution. As my title carries, listener. I listen and taken most of the points. And Muralidhar sir and for everyone particularly. The main purpose of organizing this is like understanding the pain points. So we as Apple partners would like to address every pain point through technology. And as Hitesh has already communicated what are the programs and other things, most of the things are there. So as I mentioned at the start of the session, this discussion is entirely a start of understanding the pain points. From here, we would like to individually connect and understand your pain points and other opportunities further. And we have Vishak, who's a specialist in BIM, putting everything together, Apple technologies and other technologies together. We have a wide range of solutions which can support the architecture community, building the center of excellence. From here, individually, we'll be connecting and understanding and taking it further. So
The best part
thank
is
you.
the promoter himself is an architect. The promoter of Data Logics himself is an architect, another beautiful one.
Right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part
I
of this.
think Kavita ji has just posted a question in the chat. Can we just address that for once?
Sure.
Uh,
Sorry, we didn't see it. Thank you, Shreya,
No,
for
so
looking
it's
at it.
not a question that you have to answer now, but yes, we would love to have a exclusive session where, maybe you could talk about the kind of technological support or solutions you have to change the way
Look, we
education
will
is being
connect with you
imparted.
definitely.
And some details about more details about the School of Skills and maybe other tools that you were talking.
Sure. We'll connect with you offline, definitely.
we'll get the team
Thank you so
to
much, Kavita ji.
all one-to-one and explore ways of how you can work with them, or at least understand of the tools that Hitesh talked about to measure how the present technology in your schools, whatever that you're using, what is the outcome of those through that. I think even that is something which is a beautiful concept. Thank you again for this beautiful evening, getting us to learn so much from you, getting us to understand more about you, and create another session which we can all get you together on an on-ground session and have this discussion one-to-one, face-to-face. We would love to create that and have a personalized interaction with you. Looking forward to get you all connected again and have a great evening going forward. Thank you so much for being part of this
Thank
beautiful.
you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
Monica.
much
Monica. Bye.
for
So
inviting
much.
us and having us.
Yes, yes.
Minuji, please feel free to connect with me regarding your German Shepherd. Sorry, we left that little thing.
Absolutely, I'm
Please
going
feel
to
free
do
to do
that.
that too.
That's a
All
very
right.
important point of this discussion.
I know. I just
Absolutely.
want to bring it back to the non-humans. That's very,
I'm
very
going to do that. Thank you so much, Jaydeep.
Take care.
Take
Lovely,
care.
lovely
Thank you
meeting
so
all
much.
of you. Lovely meeting all of you.
Thank
Take care.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
Bye.
you.
Thank you all.